Hi y'all, so welcome to or back to Autumn Reads a Tome. I bought a couple of books and I just wanted to show y'all quickly. I've been choosing to prioritize thrifting books over going to buy them new at regular bookstores. So I bought 2 books recently. I have been reading Moby Dick on my Kindle. And I've mentioned in my last vlog that it is hilarious and something that I was not expecting from a 19th century novel that's as long as this one. And it's about a whale and a captain on a ship. Like, I never expected this to be something that I am having so much fun with, but I am. And so I went ahead and bought a physical copy of it. And I got the Penguin English Library edition. This is my first one of these editions. Usually I just go for like the orange spine or the light blue one. I'm not sure what those editions are called. But if I'm going to buy one, usually those are the ones I go for. But the cover was just so pretty, I couldn't resist it. And I got it thrifted, so I think it was $9 or $10. And it's in pretty good shape, all things considered. I personally, when I do thrift books, I do it online through thrift books. I will go to physical thrift stores as well. But if I'm just going to be shopping from home, that's my go-to, is thrift books. Oh, hello. Someone finished her breakfast. Oh, yes. Was it delicious? She's been on a special diet lately because she had done an allergy diet trial. She had been doing hydrolyzed protein, and she's not 100% better, but the vet said that any change is for the best, and she has been significantly less itchy. She used to get these infections, bacterial infections and rashes on her belly, and those have completely cleared up. So she's been doing great. She has less ear infections. She hasn't had a single one since before November when we had her first appointment with a specialist. She's on a strict diet, both by like the amount of food that she's given and the timing of it. So she's on like a 12-hour schedule right now. Luckily, she likes the food, mostly the wet food. I kind of have to mix the dry kibble in to get her to eat it, but we'll do what we can. It's kind of a bummer because we used to cook her a homemade popper, and we've found out that she, I'm pretty sure, is allergic to beef. So we've done different tests. We've done chicken, we've done dairy, we've done beef, we've done lamb, we've done whitefish. Yeah, I think she's just a fragile little girl. It's a Frenchie thing. I will say I love her very much. I don't regret getting her. I do acknowledge that Frenchies really just shouldn't exist. It's hard to say that because I do love her so much, but just with the irresponsible breeding that happens when breeds like this become so popular, we really tried to do our research and find, a good breeder. And we have a good relationship with the breeder that we got her from. And she is within the guidelines of like the AKC standards of like acknowledged Frenchies, like purebred Frenchies. Like, she's not one of those exotic colors that have like known health conditions. Obviously, if you have a Frenchie in general, they're probably going to have some issues. And she does. She's got the allergies. We did get her the brachycephalic palate surgery and the nares, like opening up her passageway just to help her breathe better. She's still got some of the unavoidable issues with like short snouted dogs. But we do love her very much. I'm happy she exists selfishly. But yeah. Definitely don't get a Frenchie if you're not prepared for the care and the vet bills. Like, they're cute, but it's a lot of work to take care of them, and it's a heavy burden on the wallet. Frenchies are a commitment, and as much as I love her, I think she'll be my first and last. You're very special to me. Yes, you are. I love you so much, okay? Anyways, where was I? Oh, yes, I bought a physical copy used, And I've been going back from where I was on my Kindle, going through the highlights and notes that I took and just adding them into the book. And I'm getting to relive the moments that made me literally laugh out loud. Ishmael is just so hilarious. I also did order one other book on Thrift Books. So I'll just show you. I don't need to build up to it. I've been wanting to read East of Eden for a long time. I read East of Eden a couple of years ago, and it's now one of my favorite books of all time. And I just want to see how The Grapes of Wrath compares to East of Eden. I love John Steinbeck. I've read a few of his works, mostly the shorter ones. I have a copy of The Pearl upstairs that I've just been saving for when I need to read a short book, because I do go through that every once in a while where it's nice to just read a short book. But East of Eden is not short, but neither is The Grapes of Wrath. And I didn't know that it was deckled edges. I got this, I think this was like $8. And the condition is amazing. I'm so happy that I got this edition. And it's got like French flaps. I'm so excited to read this. I don't know when I'm going to, because Moby Dick is kind of already my big commitment right now. I don't actually know how long it is. With the epilogue, it is 663 pages. I thought it was longer. I mean, that's a long book, but I'm reading this as part of the Game of Tomes book club on Fable, and it's also hosted here on YouTube by Emmy and Carolyn Marie Reads, I think is her channel name, or just Carolyn is her name. I haven't read every single book every month or every 2 or 3, because it used to be 2 months, then it was 3 months, now it's 4 months to read. So this technically doesn't need to be finished as part of the club until the end of April. I'm about 20% of the way through now, and I started the 3rd week of January. I definitely am going to finish this before April just because I can't put it down. Honestly, I'm so happy that I waited until this point in my life to read it. There's just something about getting older and experiencing more of life, and classics just become so much more meaningful to you the more experience that you have. I've been having such a good time reading Moby Dick. I'm probably going to start The Grapes of Wrath, honestly, probably soon, because I've been wanting to read this for the last couple of years since I finished East of Eden. But I don't know. I'm also reading this. And I've also been listening to the audiobook of Finding Me by Viola Davis. And that is so raw and disturbing because her life has been... I didn't know that she had gone through so much. I've just never really followed her as an actress, and I didn't know anything about her life, her childhood. I can't imagine writing that book and reliving the traumas that you experienced as a child because, wow. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest it. I'm listening to it on Audible, and the audiobook is narrated by Viola Davis herself. And it is just incredible. You should go read it for yourself or listen to the audiobook if you can. Get it from your library, or if you have Audible, I would use that. I am now going to start annotating. I think I've got 4 chapters left until I catch up to where I started the physical read. I can't emphasize enough how much fun I'm having reading this book and how unexpected it was. That's what makes it so amazing too. It's when you don't have high expectations and then it just blows you out of the water, no pun intended. Oh my gosh, it's just such a good feeling as a reader. Okay, if I'm going to read any one passage to you so far out loud, it has to be the opening half of the paragraph of chapter 17. Okay, I am so sorry if you're religious and find this offensive, but I think I laughed for a minute straight after I read this. Okay, just please bear with me, okay? As Queequeg's Ramadan, or fasting and humiliation, was to continue all day, I did not choose to disturb him till towards nightfall, for I cherish the greatest respect towards everybody's religious obligations, never mind how comical, and could not find it in my heart to undervalue even a congregation of ants worshipping a toadstool. Queequeg thought he knew what he was about, I suppose. He seemed to be content, and there let him rest. All our arguing with him would not avail. Let him be, I say, and heaven have mercy on us all, Presbyterians and pagans alike, for we are all somehow dreadfully cracked about the head, and sadly need mending. Okay, so if that doesn't convince you to read this book, nothing will. Because it's just the way he sees the world, the way he talks about people, it's just not something I expected in this time period. That's it. I'm gonna keep going. I've been cooking dinner for like the last 30 minutes, and I just realized that I could have totally been filming it because it's one of my favorite go-to recipes. So I'm making a cilantro lime white chicken chili, and the base is chicken broth, onions, garlic. I boiled like 1.5 pounds of chicken breast so that I could shred it up and add it at the end. And you can use dairy if you want to, but the original recipe that I found called for 1/2 cup of cashews, raw cashews, mixed with an entire can of coconut milk or cream, not cream of coconut, like no sugar added or anything like that. Just a can of coconut milk or coconut cream, depending on how thick you want it. And then you blend that up in a blender together, and it makes like a cream base. I've tried it with heavy cream, and it's still good, but there's just something about coconut. It's just magic. And also it has diced green chilies and then a whole bunch of spices. So here I've just got cumin, paprika, oregano, ground coriander, cayenne pepper, which you can skip if you don't like spice, and then just salt and pepper. So you add all of that in with a box of chicken broth. The recipe calls for 2 cups, but I always just put the whole box because I like my soup soupy. If you like it thicker, you can do the 2 cups or let it reduce down. So I've got this going. The chicken is over here. I just cut it up to help it cool down faster after boiling. I've got my cilantro diced up here. This is the chicken broth that I use. I just use one that's low sodium. And then I've got my cashew coconut concoction. And then I recently just went ahead and bought a glass juicer because I juice lemons, limes, oranges constantly. Basically, you add all of this stuff in at the end once the chicken is shredded, and then you top it with a little bit of raw cilantro after you added the rest of it in, and then you just cut up an avocado, and it is one of the most delicious soups that I have ever had at home. And I make it all the time. Anyways, I'm gonna add all this stuff in. I also made some wild rice because I had some beef broth in the fridge that was gonna go bad, so I went ahead and made that. My husband does not like wild rice because it has like a little bit of a crunchy texture even when you cook it for like an hour. So my son and I will eat that with the soup, and I think it's gonna be fun. And here's my plate that I'm gonna share with my son. I cannot wait. It looks delicious. I've been spending the morning cleaning up my house. I just cleaned the kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom. I just kind of tidied up and changed the sheets. I'm in that limbo stage where I don't know how much time I have before my son wakes up. I did start the 4th book in the Game of Thrones series on Audible, and I also have a physical copy, but personally I like listening to the audiobooks because they're so long. I just like to have it in my ear while I'm working around the house, so I was doing that. And last night, spontaneously, I decided to finally read a Tolstoy short story, and I had one on my little shelf that I've got here, so I just pulled out How Much Land Does a Man Need? And I read it before, but I sped through it, and I really took my time with it. It's only like 15 pages long, but last night I sat and took like an entire hour just to slowly read it. Greed is an evil thing that causes lots of problems in people's lives. And it was just such an interesting way of putting it in terms of the land that a man might acquire. Because obviously Tolstoy lived in the 1800s, so if he was going to write something about greed, his go-to was a landowner. How much land could a man desire to own and be happy? And the way that he portrayed it was through a man slowly exploiting groups of people after groups of people, buying and selling land, until ultimately he finds this very, he thinks, gullible group of people who offer to sell him as much land as he wants, as long as he can walk in like basically a giant square, or I guess it doesn't matter what shape. Basically, he has to start at one point. He can walk whatever shape he wants, as long as he starts at sunrise and goes in whatever shape and ends back at that same point at sunset. And as you could imagine, he pushes it to the limit, and it's just a really fascinating way to think about greed and what we will do not only to ourselves, but also like this guy's married and has kids, and he just really only thinks about himself. You can get a lot out of a 15-page story. I just think it was an interesting story. I like Russian literature. I like Tolstoy. I've never read one of his full-length novels. I've only read short stories. Like I read The Death of Ivan Ilyich, and that one too, also really intriguing and got a lot of depth to it for something that's so short. But this is even shorter, so yeah, if you are interested in Tolstoy or Russian literature at all, I highly recommend it as a starting point. Or even if you've been reading it for a long time, Russian literature, and you just haven't read his short stories, I highly recommend giving them a go. A lot of places you can find them for free online. If I can find any resources specifically that I can link on YouTube, then I will down below. But otherwise, you can find them in used bookstores for a really good price. There's always like thrift books online if you like to buy the books online and you want to thrift them instead of buying from a bookstore. Or you can buy new copies that have like a compendium of short stories. So those are my current reads right now, along with Moby Dick, obviously, and also The Grapes of Wrath. I did start for my book club. I decided to do a 2-month read of it because it's longer and it's kind of been on, even though it's my book club pick, it's on the back burner right now because I've been just investing so much into Moby Dick. So I think I am going to go ahead and make a coffee, and I probably don't have that much time before my son wakes up. So I think I'll just sit and enjoy my coffee and listen to more of my audiobook. I don't really feel like crafting. I haven't picked up my knit project in about a week, and I haven't started a new crochet project either. I just haven't been in the mood. I've been super into gaming since I found my DS. I started pulling out my Switch too, and my husband and I at night have been playing Mario Party every night, and it's been so much fun. So, I don't know, I might play some Animal Crossing if I have time, but I kind of want to just sit and drink my coffee and listen to my audiobook. I'm just going to sit here and listen to my audiobook while I sip on this. My son's naps have been completely unpredictable lately. Sometimes he'll nap for literally 15 minutes, and then Like a few days ago, he napped for an hour and a half, and every day is different. So I just don't know how much time I have. I either have like 30 seconds or potentially another like 30 minutes. So I try not to focus so much on the free time that I have so that I don't set myself up for disappointment in any way. Sometimes I have the whole day go very smoothly, and I feel grateful for that too. And then there's days that are really hard where I have to sit back and just remind myself that I'm very, very much a lucky person. I am so far down the nostalgia rabbit hole at this point from playing all my old video games from 10 to 20 years ago, depending on the console. Like almost 10 years ago for the Switch games that I've been playing, and then over 20 years ago for the DS games, which sounds crazy. I can't believe Mario Kart on the DS, not the 3DS, the DS, came out in 2005. I can't believe 2005 was 20 years ago, 21 years ago. Holy crap. That makes me feel old, but it also makes me feel like I have, more life experience. The older that I get, just the more my perspective on life changes. I know that's normal, but it's weird. It's weird to realize that all the advice that adults gave you growing up was like true. Like, you have to live your own life and make your mistakes for yourself, and no amount of advice is, going to stop people from making their own decisions. Anyways, nostalgia. So I've been reading what I would not call like the best romance manga of all time, but for me one of the most nostalgic mangas that I read was Peach Girl by Miwa Ueda. I don't know how to say her name, I'm sorry. I was absolutely obsessed with this manga and the anime series that was like really short. It was only 18 to 25 episodes or something short like that. And I was just so obsessed. It's about this high school aged girl named Momo, and obviously a big part of Japanese culture is to have very small and very very small features and very pale skin. And Momo has tan skin, and she's tall, and she's got like orange blonde hair, depending on if you watch the show or read the manga. She says she's blonde, but in the anime her hair is red. But anyways, she's very insecure about having dark skin and light hair and being very tall compared to the other girls around her. And what she doesn't realize is that she's actually drop dead gorgeous, and the guys around her are all like falling for her. There's this one girl who's kind of like, she pretends to be her best friend, but she's really kind of like her arch nemesis. And she's got the pale skin, the ivory skin, and she's very petite, and the men also drool over her. The whole thing is basically there's a love triangle between her. It's not a true triangle, but it's two guys and this girl. And the whole time, Sai, the other petite girl who's pretending to be her friend, Sai tries to sabotage Momo's relationships with boys, because they're teenagers. And at the end, you don't know which of the two she's going to choose. I know, because I've read it like 100 times. Not really, but if you like romance anime and if you like silly, kind of unbelievable drama, then I would recommend checking it out. Apparently, it's on Kindle Unlimited. I don't know if it's the whole series, but I'm just reading the first one right now. And yeah, I know that at least a handful of them, if not the whole series, is on Kindle Unlimited. So that's pretty awesome, because these days, since it's a little bit older, it's kind of hard to find in like physical copies. But anyways, yeah, this is what I've been reading for the past 2 days. It's just my comfort. It's silly, it's not the best, but it's just one of those things that you can't help but love because it was there for you at a time in life when you were very vulnerable, and that's what this was for me. You guys, I'm so proud of myself right now. I tried to film it, but my son was crying a lot, so I don't think I'll actually post the clip. But anyways, I was making myself a matcha latte, and I've been practicing with getting the milk foam right. Obviously, there's like no art on the top because I don't know what I'm doing. But I can't believe I actually got like anything. I'm just so proud of myself. I'm gonna enjoy this latte so much more than I would ever enjoy spending, you know, however much one this size costs. So throughout the day today, I've just been listening to A Feast for Crows on Audible. We're watching a live stream of the Monterey Bay Aquarium. I just like to watch low stimulation live streams, whether it's just music, like somebody playing an instrument, or animals. Birds is the one that we've been enjoying a lot because with the winter, there's like squirrels and snow and it's fun. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna keep listening to my audiobook as long as my son is playing independently. I'm trying not to make eye contact because if you're a parent, you know as soon as you make eye contact, it's game over. I'm getting pretty tired of this whole winter thing, to be honest. I shoveled for one day for like an hour and a half, and I'm just not built for it. I know I'm out of shape in general, but my husband can literally be out there for like 3 hours and he's like, I'm totally fine. And he's just in like a hoodie and sweatpants. I have to like put 3 layers of pants. Gotta wear like thermal underwear, like long johns, a wool sweater, a parka. And then I've got like shearling LL Bean winter boots. Like I am fully suited up. So by the time I get out there and I start shoveling, it's like a real intense workout and it really kills the back. Unless my form could be terrible with the shovel. I don't know because I didn't grow up shoveling. But I do my best to help when he asks me to. But other than that, I'm just so grateful that he is used to doing this on his own. And this is the worst snow season that we've had since I moved here. And I've been here for almost 10 years now. My third attempt at steaming milk. Honestly, it's getting better. I think I still am burning it a little bit, and I think I'm adding too much of the big chunky bubbles, but it's a learning process, and I'm pretty proud of that.